Welcome everybody. So for tonight, we're going to look into data-driven aspects of Cucumber features. So we're going to see how we can use scenario outline and how we can also pass our parameters into the feature files. So that is what we're going to do for tonight. So and quickly we'll just do a quick scenario. So let's go to blueskycitadel.com. So this is what we're going to automate tonight. So let's say we have registration, so login. So and then we click on register now. So and I want to test this particular form, right? Registration form. And I want to test valid and invalid scenario. And I want to test invalid username, invalid email address. I also want to test invalid password and everything, all like that. So I don't want to now use different feature files and also different scenarios. So for me to do this, I can use scenario outline. So that my feature is neater, and then I can use different test cases to do this for only one step definition. So that is what we're going to look into now. So let's go to our test. So we're going to at least start from basic actually, right? We're going to start from basic. So I'm going to be a bit slower. So what you need to do. So the first thing that we want to do is create our feature file. So let's create a new feature file and let's call this file registration feature. Okay. And I'm going to add this one saying, do you want to add this because I need it to be added to Git. So I'm going to add it to Git. So, okay. So now let's put our feature. So let's call it registration. Okay. So this is all right. The next one. So this is just basically a text that doesn't mean anything. So, and you can use that to explain what the test, this particular feature is about. So then following that, we're going to have scenario. Okay, scenario. So, but I need scenario outline. So scenario outline, you can see it's actually showing underline because there's no example. So every scenario outline needs to be followed by example. Let's say just say example. So you can see it actually create an example for me. But you can as well create it by hand, just scenario outline, you put an example there. So IntelliSense actually helps you to be able to do that. So, but let's assume I'm not doing that. So I just say scenario outline. I can click on that and I say this is login, no registration. Sorry. And then I can start by saying giving. All right, because we already have a scenario for login to Giftreach. Okay. All right. So, all right. Okay, let's leave this one like that. Let's say blue sky. So I already got this anyway. So, but I'm going to change this one so to actually address what we are going to be looking at. So, all right. So we still have this underlined. So I'm going to quickly create my examples, and then you need to use the pipe. So on my own, this pipe, it's shift slash on my own keyboard. This is after the other shift at the left hand side. So that is forward slash. It is, isn't it? Yeah, forward slash, not the backslash. Forward slash. So that is shift of this particular one. So if you press shift while pressing this key, then that's what you get. You get the pipe. Because I know some people might find it difficult to locate where the pipe is. It's on top of the function or the control button. All right, so that is my example. As you can see, the underline is gone, so I'm okay to start. So now what we need to do now, this is one for that. So would one step the first thing I want to do is, let me even do, okay, so this is our data-driven test. So one, I want to first use, okay, so the first one is I want to parameterize. Yeah, so in a case like this, now what I need to do now, I need to first start number one, so I can do data driven by parameterization. So that instead of using this particular approach, which is in my step definition, if I go to my step definition, I've got my test here. All right, I've got the location here basically. So I can decide to not do that and put my parameter on this particular feature, so that allows me to uh, make it dynamic. So for instance, let's say if I now say this, even I navigate to, let's say, okay, don't worry about this. That is going to be about the sample. So I'm going to use it in the next one. So, okay. So then let's navigate to, so that allows us to set this question. All right, cool, thanks. So, okay, so this actually takes us to that form. So let me quickly run it just to be sure it's fine. Okay, cool. So, all right. So because there's nothing, okay, that's fine. So the next step now is for me to, okay. All right, 1 minute. let's just do this quickly. Let's before number one. Sorry, number one, parameterization without the outline actually. So let's do this quickly. Parameter number one, the easy one. Yeah. So now what I want to do, the scenario is basically for me to go here. So I might need to click on registration. So I might need to click on registration. So, or I might need to also click on this one, or directly, maybe to make it easy for us, I can go to this particular link. So let me try to do that. So one, inspect this element here. So let's say click on that. I can use that one. Okay. So let me give in and okay. I know last week someone actually make a feedback that he kind of got lost because it was too much for him or for her. So I'm gonna go through slowly if that's fine. So what we've just done is basically this now. So the next one, I want to click on login or register. What do I need to do? I need to create a step definition for what I've just entered. So as you can see, when I mouse over it, it's actually recommending that I do create that step definition. I can click on that. I've already got one step definition already created, so I'm going to use that just to make it life easy actually. So, and I would do this. So as you can see, that is my step definition now. So what's the next thing to do is for me to now say go in there. So I know that I can actually click on it by this particular link text. So I'm going to use the link text for that one, if that's fine. So then what I just need to do now to say driver dot find elements by link text dot link text. Then what is the text I want? So I can paste. Let me copy that. So if I copy this one. Okay, so that is my text. Then after that, what do I need to do? I want to click. Last week I went through all the commands that you can use. So we're going to be using most of these commands tonight. So that is going to click on that. So after it clicks on that, what do we need to do? So that should take us to this particular place. So we want to click on register now. So let's inspect that. So register now should take us here. So where's that? So we want to get only for register now. Okay. All right, that's fine. I think it's this one then. So it's the O one, not a member, register now. So which is this basically. So you can also use the link text for this one as well. Okay, let's try to use partial link text. I think we spoke about this last week as well. So because I know this is partial, this is a part of that link. So I can use partial link text for that one. So the next one, let's put that in another feature. Sorry, no, another step definition rather. So, and I click on, or basically, yeah. So then we can do the same thing that we did before, create the step definition and put it in our step definition. So we can call Mr. Driver dot find element so by dot link text. So how do you want to get it? So you want to, so we already got link text. So okay, apologies. I think, like I said, because this is not the full link, I cannot use link text. So I can only use partial link because what I am getting is partial link. So you just say by partial link test. So that's the, so after it got that, so I want to click on it. So that is what that. So after that, what do I need to do? When I click on this, I now need to, yeah, username. I want to enter something on the username. So let me inspect that element. So that is the element. So as I can see, I've got the mouse over on it. So I inspect all the properties. Basically, it's got input tag. I don't need that. It's got the text. Sorry, it's got the data rule, data ID tag. I don't need that one. So type, I don't need that one. Class, yes, I can use the class, but I don't want to use the class. Name, it's got the name. I can use the name, but since it's got an ID, yes, I can just use the ID as it is. That is the best thing to use at that particular place. So, and let me enter another step. So this one can say when I enter. That email address, username. Okay, I'm gonna enter. Okay. Okay, so I've got 3 new steps that I've okay, four new steps that I've added. So I can add this one. Okay, I can add this step definition, or I think I'm waiting for the bulb to appear. So let's see if the bulb appears. Alt. Let's say shift alt enter. Waiting for the bulb. Otherwise, I will have to do it one after the other. So alt enter will bring the bulb out. So now I want to do them. I want to create all these step definitions as a go. So you click on that one, and I want to put it in the same step definition just to make it simple, because they see some part of object-oriented programming that I've not actually taught you. So which I'm going to do next week. So okay, so I've got all the steps now created now in my step definitions. So as you can see, so when I enter, oh, I say user, but that should be username. So you cannot change it. So if you change it, then go. So I will not, sometimes it's okay to change it, but I would advise not to do that if you don't know how to do it. So, but if you really want to change it, so for instance, if I change name here and I go back to here, as you can see, it's no longer bind. So, and I need to change this one as well. So that's one way to change it. But if you don't know what you are doing, so and you made that mistake, what I can advise to do is that delete that one and create another one. Basically, that is the simplest one. So doesn't matter what is the method. What is most important is the annotation, right? Once you have the annotation, and what you have in the string for the annotation corresponds to what you have. It's going to bind to the method. So it doesn't matter what the method is called. So as you can see, I can change the method to name, and whatever that is still going to bind it. Basically, it doesn't matter. So as you can see, it's still fine. So however, it's giving me error. So I think, okay, that's fine because I made some mistake on that one. So okay, so I can change this one to name. Yeah. All right. So now I think I've got this one, the skeleton of my framework. So driver dot find elements for the username. Another thing that someone should remind me next week is the find elements. So I think I need to do that as well. So bye. So what is that? So I want to use ID, right? As the ID, then dot I want to type. So I need to do the same case. What do I want to type inside? I want to type, let's say, that will be it. So I need to do the same thing for the sake of time. I'm just going to copy and paste for this one. So, and as well as this one, then change them later. I'm going to assume that they've got the ID, so I'll change the ID later. So I need to go and get the ID for the email address. That is that. Okay, so I've just copied everything, so I'm gonna go and paste it right now. So for the password, and for the confirm password, and for the email address. Cool. So that is everything that is needed. I think. Is there any question? Usernames. Fola, I'm not sure what you mean by usernames, sir. So is it ever made a mistake? Oh, okay. All right. So I've corrected that, isn't it? Thanks. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that is that. So I've got everything that I needed on this one. So the next is for me to click on this submit. So I'm going to copy. So I think this is go class, and okay. So what I'm going to do is it hasn't got any ID. So for this, I would use the CSS selector for the submit. So let me quickly and then okay. So let's do this. Okay, so this one now. So let's do driver dot find element by we say CSS selector, right? Okay. All right. Okay, that's fine. So we can leave that. So then what do we need to do? We need to click on it because it's our submit button. Okay. All right. That's fine. One thing that people you need to be aware is IntelliJ is clever, which is good, to be honest. So is adding semicolon at the end. You need to know that's very, very important so that you don't delete it. So every statement needs to have semicolon. I mean statement. So that, as you can see, that is not a statement, that's not a statement. So once a statement is basically like a command, and then every command needs to have a semicolon at the end. If that makes sense. So we've been able to do this now. So let's try to run it. Okay, brilliant. All right, email address. Oh, of course, it's expecting email address, which is good. So that's what we're going to try. We try to do this. That's fine. Is okay. So I think the test should pass, which is fine. So we're expecting that error message to be displayed. So welcome. So now step one. So I think this is basically without, because we didn't use any parameterization. So we're going to copy this now. We're going to start the step 2 now using parameterization. So I'm going to just say using parameter. So on that. So this one now we're going to start to use parameter. So what's going to happen now? Instead of saying enter username, we want to pass the username as a parameter here. So let's say our username is my username. So, and we want to also pass our email address as parameter. Okay. And also we want to pass our password as parameter. The same thing as well, yeah. You know, that's of course you just need to click on that. Okay. All right. So, and then what do I need to do? I need to, because now they kind of changed compared to, so as you can see, when I copied the one before, all this are still binding to previous one. So I don't need to write step definition for this one. But because I've changed the the step for this one, I've changed the wording. So I need to regenerate the step definition for the new ones. So they become a new step definitions. So my data is going to be passed as a parameter. So if I do that, let me just quickly create a step, create step definition for them. Okay, these are all the steps now. So I think that down actually, yeah, okay. So yeah, when I enter the username, basically, that's it. And I enter password. And then you can see it's got an argument, basically. So this is how to do it right now. So let's first remove the throw exception. Okay. Now, what we now need to do now is we are going to be entering the username. Let's change this argument 0 to username. Okay, in lowercase username. Okay, so and let's so instead of re-engineering the way before, we know we have one function, this particular step. Yeah, so this is one that we had before, so I'll copy that one so that I don't do that again. I just paste it here now. So this is what we have before, actually, but the username that we have here, it's been hard coded inside our step definition. This is what we need to change now, so that our data is actually being fed in from our feature file. So I'm going to remove that. So instead of that, I will put this username that I put here. So I will say username. So technically what I've done now, I've been able to parameterize it basically. So my username is coming from that. It's coming from my feature file. The same thing that we have to do for our email address. So for the email address, I will just try to go through the pane again. So of doing it from scratch so that you don't get confused. So driver.find element. So by dot. So I think was an ID that we used. Okay. I can still find its email. Okay. So that is that. So dot. So send keys. So what are we sending now? So in the other one that we did, we put the code of what we are sending. We did something like that. And we put our what's it called? Our email address there. But now, since the email is coming from our step definition, we need to put this particular email. So this argument, we can change this one to email now, and then we'll put it here and say email. So basically, this email now is coming from the feature file. The same thing for our password. Let's just copy that for the sake of time. And I'm going to put it now here. What did I do? Then okay, sorry. So instead of this one now, I need to change that to password. Okay, so that is that. So the same thing for the confirm password as well. So where's that? Okay, so this is one for the confirm password. So I'm going to copy that and I will use this to replace this one. but this time around also I want to change this to password. But of course, this is, I can, if it's password, it's still the same thing, just not to make you confused, I'll change this to confirm password. So then copy that one and put it here. Bear in mind, don't put it in the code, so it has to be like that. So okay, so that is that now. So now I've got once this particular scenario, now using scenario, as you can see now, it's got parameterized one. So, and if I just say, so technically you can be changing this. So let's quickly test that. As you can see, that's got the email, that's got everything that we need in there. So basically, so it's actually sending our emails there. So which is really, really cool. So, and so one thing that I also want to, so that we can actually see the results, I'm going to, okay, there's no close button, so which is good. Okay, brilliant. All right, so this is now using the parameterize. Actually, as you can see, it's got parameter. So I don't know why the password is not entered, so we need to look into that later. Oh, okay, maybe I don't need to click. Okay, I don't need to click on the submit button so that we can see what we are entering. So let me leave that for now. So sorry, I think that should be hash sign. Okay. So the next one now is us using the scenario outline. So so number 2 is now for you to use data driven. So you can also use scenario outline. So like I said, once you use scenario outline, you should follow with we should follow with the example. Otherwise, as you can see, it's been underlined. So this is one of the interview questions I was asked before. So you go example and yeah, you go that. So then what do we do now? Because you need the pipe. So this is now when we want to use scenario outline, we can now bring this one like code like that. So in this case now, we're going to have an header and the data. So first thing is username. So let me put it in capital letter just for sake of clarity. Username, and I've got password. I've got email address. Just for the sake of people that might be confused, I didn't put any spacing. So I think the address and password together. Okay. So the next one is confirm password. Okay, so now as you can see, the color here is the kind of, what's it called? gray because it's not being used. So that is your header. So after that, you have to create corresponding data at the bottom. So for this one now, let's say this is going to be my test. So this is my email address. Let me just email. Then password. Then after password, confirm password. Okay, so that is that. So I think I kind of also added something there. So I'm going to. So I'm going to put it at the top. This is just kind of information, basically. So, okay. So as you can see now that my pipe is a bit scattered. So for me to align that, so that's the reason I put that at the top so that you guys can know Control Alt and L. So that resets it basically and format it properly. So now the username, the email, the password is not yet used. So what I need to do now for this one is my username. So I can put username there. As you can see, the colors change is been connected or linked to this one. So the same way I need to do the same thing for the email address. So that will be my email address now, not the content. So, okay. So this is now my password. You just need to put the less than and greater than sign and put your table title and okay. So as you can see, it's mapped. So if you run this now, this is a scenario. So let me quickly just comment this one out. So I don't need to run this one. So if you want to do block comment, so you just need to block everything, highlight everything, and press Control, then backspace. Control backspace. That should do what I've just done right now. So to do the block comment for you. So now, so I only got one scenario now. So so that I can see what it does. So let's try to run this one now. So as you can see, that's good. I'm not sure why this is not entered. So let's try to look at it again. So it seems that is not working. User password. I don't know what is there. So let's try to check that. So if you go in there, as you can see, is also mapped to the other one that we did. So you don't need to do anything. So let's go into that step. It's mapped to this step. So, oh, okay, we made a mistake on that one. So, oh, I did. So that should be the password for that one. That should be the ID. So we are actually putting the same ID into the two scenarios. That's why it's not working. So, all right. So now we've already confirmed that this should work. if we do it properly. So so the next one now, this is, let's now do it properly, right? So this is my email address, and this is my, okay. Let's say, let me undo this now. Let me undo this. Now I want to, let me call this more invalid one, okay? Because it's my invalid scenario. It's not going to, okay? So I can copy this one again. I can call it now valid, right? Because I want to have another scenario, valid one. So I want to have a valid scenario, so which is basically my normal email address and everything. So email address, so I can say, and thank you, submit. So at test.com. So for the invalid one now, I need to put maybe invalid email address, something that's not valid like that. So it's not, it should not accept it, and you click on, so, and okay, so, and this one as well. So this is my valid one. So, and you might also want to do a lot of invalids. You might want to do a lot of invalids in this scenario when you're testing. So it's not only going to be one. So this, the first one, invalid. So let's change it to say invalid email address. Invalid email address. So the next one, we can copy that. So say this is now invalid password, or incorrect password, basically. Okay, so incorrect password. So that shows if my password is not correct. So, and it means my email address, let's make sure the email address is correct. And I can just put this so that you're only going to give my an error that this is incorrect. You can, yeah. So let's say we have these two scenarios. So for that, so, and I'm going to call our outline. We can comment this one out because I don't want it to run. Okay. So I'm going to run these two or three scenarios now to see what we have. Okay. Okay, I will be, it's okay. All right, so let's see what we've got. So one of them failed. So why? So let's see what the problem is. And I think there's also a question. 1 minute. Okay, sorry, let me just, please, what does it throw or throwable? Okay, okay, so the throw or throwable actually means there were some cases where you might need an exception. The exception will be thrown, so you will need that. So it is, yeah, that is also that it's liable to throw an exception. So in some stuff you might need to throw an exception, so that's fine. We need more. We need, if you run. If you run this code more than once, it will likely fail the second time because this number. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Duplicate of the user details. That's fine. Thank you. So what command did you use to undo it, sir? Okay, it's the same command, command slash as well. So is it possible to run invalid tests in one scenario? That is what I'm going to do next. That's the purpose of the scenario outline. So to do the invalid test in one scenario, that's the purpose of the scenario outline. Can we run each scenario in a different window on Firefox browser? Yeah, that they are actually run in different windows actually. So they're not run in the same window. So it's going to run one after the other. On the feature section at the right corner, there is a mark, sign, and 5. What does that mean? Okay. Oh, okay. 25 typo, as you can see. So it doesn't, you don't need to worry about that one, to be honest. So, okay. All right. So that test actually failed. Let's see why it failed. Is sometimes it's also good to debug this thing. So I'm going to look into that. So one test failed, 3 passed. So let's see why that one actually failed. So it's not. Okay, all right. So this will be another issue that you find actually, which is fine. So what happens is in this case, yeah. So it's not able to click on the register because there's already a pop-up already created. So that is the reason why that one passed. So you might need to assert the pop-up. This would be something that you might need to do. So basically, so click on this one. So okay. Okay. All right. So I think that is fine. So the next thing I want to do now, let's come here now using scenario outline at this time. Let me try to uncomment this. So control slash to uncomment it. So once I am here, so I need to comment this one out. I need this one to be in comment. Okay, all right, cool. So I've got this now. So what I will now call this one instead, this is now where it becomes interesting. So all this invalid one that we've written at the top, we can write them properly using outline. So instead of repeating them every time, so like this, and also repeating them, changing this one, so we can use scenario outline to get to do them better. We can say invalid. Okay. So you can do that, and that will be it. So the next thing that you would need to do is now, okay, so it's now left for us to, okay, let me just copy this one. So for the first one, I want to make this to be valid and password different, which is fine. So for the next one, I want this to be invalid, and I want, okay, and that one should be the same. I only want invalid email. So for this one, I want invalid username. Let's say it doesn't allow 123, and this should still be that. So for the next one, let's say these are 3 scenarios. So basically, what is going to happen? This will be 3 different scenarios, right? So because we got 1, 2, 3. So what this is going to do is it's going to come here, navigate to the site, click on the login, click on register now. At the first attempt, it's going to put this username and this email address, this password, and confirm password, and then that will be end of it. It will start another instance. This time around, it's going to do the same thing, navigate, click on login, click on register, enter username. The username will be the second one now, with the email and the password and confirm password. Once that is done, it goes back again, and now for the third attempt, it's going to use this on detail. So that is what is going to happen. Let's try to run it again. So if you have any question, please let me know. Okay, cool. That is going to fail because of that. So, okay. Okay. So in the second one, when the email is wrong, I think it should stop there. So I don't understand what that means. If you mean that the when the email is wrong, it should not go ahead with that. No, if that is what you're saying, no, because each one of them are different scenarios on their own. So this one is going to be finished, then it moves to the second one as a different scenario, and it's going to move to another one as a different scenario. So that is what you're going to get. So now let's now try to look at our assertion basically quickly. So before you go, so what happens is when you click on submit, then you got an error. So you get an error actually. So what does the error say? So you have error. What is that? Okay, let's say this is the error. Okay, so this is the error. So now, so we need to get this particular error message on the label. So for I assume that this ID is not the good thing to use because this error message is only for the email error. And it's also possible that we might get error on the password as well. So for instance, if this is true, let's say this is true and the issue is this one, and we click on submit, so we get error here as well. So if you look at this one and you look at the error message, so this should also have basically. So this is a different message. Okay, so we might need to assert it differently just to make it easy. Sometimes you might need to assert this one separately, you might assert the other one separately as well, but just to make it easy, so we're going to do individual assertion for now. So then as time goes on, maybe for those guys that will be in the internship, we'll do the other ones as well. But this is basic. You, to be honest, what you need for any work is already been in this particular course. So to be honest, so how do we fix the pop-up issues? So I would, okay, I'll try to look into that for next week if that's fine. So without going into password. So yeah, that's not totally true. So you need to do the other scenarios. So yeah, the pop-up I will look into. I've already done that last week. So you can use the alert to get the pop-up, or another way to, for instance, let's go there actually. So if you bring this one out, where's the pop-up? Let's refresh. So even if you press escape, I think the pop-up can go, but you might have to wait for a few minutes for the pop-up to appear. So that's where sometimes it passes, sometimes it doesn't pass. So because if your system is slow, the pop-up appears. Okay, it doesn't appear. So which is a bit complex in this instance because because now it doesn't appear. You don't even know when it does appear. So you might need to put an if statement in there. So this is a bit complex actually. So you might need to put an if statement if that particular element is present. You press escape. So now even manually, I don't even know how to bring that because automation, for anything that you do in automation, you should be able to replicate it manually. That's why you need to get a sequence. I can't even bring it out. Seriously? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Maybe we are able to do it from here. Okay. Maybe when you've okay. Okay, maybe when you've closed it once, you can't actually bring it out again unless you run it in incognito. So let me refresh this one. Okay, all right. So if you press escape, okay, it doesn't work with escape. So let's see this one. Inspect it actually. So that is the basically. This is quite easy then. What you just need to do is not even a lot, is a button. So you just need to click on that basically. So but you need some weight in there. So I will look into this next week. So someone should remind me. So you just need to first assert that that is there, and then you click on it basically. Maybe that would be good. Or if I have time tonight, I can also look into that. Can you show how to use Google to expand our code if needed? Okay. All right, I said I'm going to do that today. That's fine. So quickly, so if this is okay now, I just want to wrap this up. I'll look into the Google one. So, so I want to look into the Google one. So, all right. So now let's basically do some assertion. So I will look into the Google now. Maybe I'll use Google for the assertion. So, sorry, and so okay, all right, cool. So the next one now is, and so once you click on the submit, what do you want to do? I want to confirm all these error messages, basically, right? I want to confirm all these error messages. It's a bit complex. I don't know how to do it. Let's assume that actually. So I'll be using Google to do this. So and I confirm the error message. And I confirm that error message. Okay, so now we know what you need to do. We need to first, sorry, uh, we need to get the step definition for that one. Let's put it in the same place. So this is our step definition. Okay, so this is our step definition. So, and the next thing that we need to do now is basically assert. Yeah. So, but we need to find the element first before we do the assertion. So driver dot find element. So, what element are we finding by? So let's quickly go to the where the element is displayed. So this is a bit advanced for those guys that are new. So if you don't get it, that's fine. So, but if you get it, it's okay as well. So let's only do the email address one actually. So if you right click here and inspect the element, this is the element, and I'm going to use the class for it for this one. So because I'm assuming that even if there's nothing there, it should work for username as well. So I'm going to use the class. So let's use the class for that purpose. So where's the so by Oh no. So I don't think I copied the. So that is my class name. Then what do I need to do? I want to confirm this is displayed. I want to confirm that error message is displayed. So that is one way to get it. So I want to confirm that error message is displayed. So that would throw an exception for if it's not displayed. So if it's not displayed, it will throw an exception and my test will fail. That is one way of doing it. So of doing the assertion. So quickly, let me. So an error message is displayed. So, but however, is the error message for address, right? That is the error message for email address that we use, which I think should be similar for the other one as well. So let me just make the email address invalid, and then I need to put it in the other one as well. Invalid email address and invalid. Okay, I'm going to uncomment this one now, all these other invalid ones. Invalid. Okay. So this one is invalid email address. So once I have invalid email address, I should get an error message. Error message is displayed. So which is what this one is going to give us. So the next one that I've added before, this is wrong. I should not get an error message on this one. So I'm going to put that out because this should be the valid one. So I'll leave that as it is, as it was. So I would put. I'm going to copy this one now. I'm going to say, okay, I'm getting another invalid. Let's say this is now invalid username. So let's assume now on this one, the username, I did not add anything basically. So it's blank. So it's going to throw an exception for me. So I'm going to comment the one that we are using for, yes, the outline one. So so that we come back to this one. So just for us to run it. So take that one out. Okay. All right, 1 minute to just make it easy and tidy. I'm going to cut that one out. Okay. Cut the scenario outline out. I'm going to create another feature file, paste that into the feature file. So registration scenario outline. Okay. So I'm going to add this one to this point. So yeah. Okay, so just to make it a bit tidier, actually, so I'll just split it into a different scenario. So as you can see, I don't need to do anything. So even if you copy one feature into another scenario, it's going to be bound automatically. So if you come here now, this is using the without parameterization, and the next is basically with parameterization, actually. So for the parameterization one, I want to say if I supply invalid one, I get error message. So, and I'm doing for invalid email address and invalid username. So I'll come back to the password later. So let's run this now. Okay, so we got that error message. Okay, we got that error message email as well. We got that error message at that one. So we're not confirming that one. So okay, let's see, everything passed actually. So once we are able to get error message, then we say it's passed. So basically that's what we've done. So another way to do this now is, now this is a bit complex. So if you want to go ahead, you could as well confirm the text itself, basically. To say, let's say we want to confirm that this is the text that is displayed. So we want to confirm that that text is actually different, and I confirm that. At this point also, I'm using parameterization. So I'm just confirming that particular text. So if you let's say this, which one is this? This is for the email address. Okay, that's good. So let's say I get that error message. Go to, okay, let me, that's step definition. So now this is my step definition for that error. So if I inspect the error message, just to get what that error message, to find the error message. Okay, this one. So I think we already have it anyway. So that's that one. So what I need to do is basically use that particular find element, this particular one. But this time around, I would need to, so this is the same find element for the error message, but this time around I want to find the text, get text. Okay, so is the text that I want. So but I need to store it somewhere, basically. So I need to say string error is equal to that one. So that will store what is in that text into the error, basically. Let's say error message, just to make it easier. So now what do I need to do? I need to now validate that error message equal to worth, which is coming from the feature file. So because as you can see, there's a parameter that the feature file is sending to the method. What you need to do now is assert let's okay, I actually said that I'm going to Google this out. Sorry. So for those guys that are requesting for it, so let's say I want to now, and I don't know how Assert works. I want to get it on Google basically. So now say how to, but if for instance for me that I know that is Assert I'm looking for, and you guys already know now that it's Assert that you are looking for basically. But how does Assert work? Assert is for you to verify a condition is true or it's not true. So you can say Assert Selenium Java, or you can say how to Assert, how to use Assert Java. So you can see Java points. So they will see Assert true, Assert, Assert false. So basically, so that's one way to use it. Assert true, Assert. So that's one way. So you could, let's assume that you don't even know what is an Assert. So how to verify a text. So you can see this is one way. So let's look at other ways. Okay, let's look at this one. This is an example. Just go in there and see. You might need to do some reading if you don't know what you're looking for. So some of them don't even will not answer your question. So okay, I think I'm going to leave that one. So if you're not getting what you want in there, you can move to another one. So you can see this is Selenium Assert. This might be close. Okay. So as you can see, that is Assert true. Assert true. That's what you're looking for. So basically, how to use an Assert. Yeah. So that it's you got one, yeah, Assert true, Assert. So basically, so yeah, so that's what we need to do. Assert true. So then we might need to hold on. Assert true. So what you need to do now is you want to verify that this message that you have is equal to this particular message. This one, this message that you have is equal to this message. That's what you need to assert. So this is a bit complex actually. So if you are not going to be passing it into the string from your feature file like that, if you're not doing this like that, you can actually hard code it. So by that, I mean, if you go into your step definition, you can just do something like that. Error dot contains do this basically. But this is one way of doing it as well. And as well, do error dot course. Okay, so that is one way of doing it. And if you also want to use assert as well, if you still want to use assert dot, you can also use all this assert through. It's basically the one I've used. You can also use assert equal. So you just have to, let's say we use assert equal. So this is how to use that. You put the error message 1 and you say comma, and I'll put my what I want to make sure. So basically saying this equals this. Another way to write it is that this one equals this one. So even if you also use the same approach that I've used before, assert dot assert equals, and you can say error message, and instead of, if you are not hard coding it, you can just say message. Okay, so this one and this one is the same way. You're writing in different ways, basically depending on what you are comfortable with. But this one, you can see the code is inside. But why do you want to do that when you can pass it onto your feature file? Once you do this, once your what is it called, the message changes, you don't need to go into your code. You can just change it in your feature file and you are good. But if you hard code it, then you might need to be going into your feature file every time to change that particular um, error message. That's where it's good to parameterize uh, your code actually, so that you can be able to, it's easy for you to maintain and it's easy for you to also change if you need to change anything. So this is basically how to do the assertion, so in different ways. So you could also do assertion. There's also some other ones here as well. So let's say scroll down. See equal, not equal, assert false. So excuse me, depending on what you want, assert same, assert fail. So depending on what you want, you can use different one for different purpose. Yeah. So just to make it tidy now, so I'm going to comment the one I don't want. So if I need to use it, so this will be my best approach. So I'm going to leave it like that actually. So, and that should be assert equals that one basically. So, and let's try to run it. So this time around, yeah, let's try to run this one. So that is where we're going to stop tonight before I push the code. Before I push it, I will try to run everything right now. So if you got any question, please do type it right now. So I've got only 4 minutes left. So yeah, you can as well just type, and I think this one's gonna fail. So you can type, yeah, you can please do type what you want me to cover for next week, so that I can actually plan ahead for those ones. So if there's anything, I know this pop-up is one of them actually, which is fine, and I don't think it's a big issue as well. Okay. Okay, so there's some of them failing because of that pop-up, so we're going to fix it next week. It's not a big issue, to be honest. So if anyone can give it a try, so what you just need to do is to create a feature file at the top. After you navigated to the site, you might want to say so like that. So this is what you need to actually add. So create on that one. So I'm going to push this. Okay, I think there's some question coming up. Okay, all right. So focus for next week. Drop down. Okay, that's good. Pop-up issues, page objects, and find the element that change. So, and speaking. Okay. Java is totally different from JavaScript. So I think Google is your best answer. Actually, I think I've already explained this before. They are totally different language. Java is different from JavaScript, if that makes sense. So you can Google. Okay. All right. So that would be the end for today. So I'm going to just push. Okay. I think that should take us here. Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm going to just copy this. So on GitHub now, so you got the code here. So you got the code here. So um, okay. So I think that should be. So for tonight, as you can see, so we've been able to focus on data driven. So we've been able to use parameterize, and also we've been able to use the scenario outline to do what we need to do. So if you are looking to get the video, you can go to Blue Sky Citadel uh, YouTube channel. So just go to automation testing for this particular session. So, and you can see all those ones. So, and yeah, of course, do please, if you can subscribe, you get uh, updates on our videos as time goes on. Thank you. So that will be it for tonight. Thanks everybody. So you haven't answered my question, please scroll up to answer. I don't know what that question is. If you want to retype it again, so please don't worry. If you so I can't find. Okay. Oh, okay. So, sir, in a real environment, today write test script amplified different from BGD. I don't really understand your question. In a real work environment, today write test script artifact. So, to be honest, there's nothing different from what I've shown to you. If I'm at work, this is what I would write. Basically, you got your BDD. So I also know that in some cases, some workplaces, you might not use BDD, and I've shown that to you previously. So in some of the artifacts that I shown to you, I think we didn't use BDD. So I think let's go. Some of these ones, I think the one we started did not use BDD. So you can look into that one if you want to know. So like this one, it doesn't use spec flow. Okay, this one actually use that. So if you go, so yes, it's not all place that you have or places that you are going to work on that they will use BDD. Some of them don't use BDD. So some of them don't use BDD. For those that don't use BDD, you have to, yeah, I think I went through that in the course uh, of the course without BDD. So I think I did that in the first 1 or 2 lectures that I did. So if you are not using BDD, you can also still be able to write your automation test without BDD. But BDD is kind of very fashionable these days. So why do we need page objects since our test is running? So I'll talk about this next week. Okay, so page object allows you to arrange your test properly. So as you can see that in action next week. All right, thank you everybody. So that will be all. So I will see you again next week. Cheers everyone.